The views expressed on the Nova Society are those of the panelists and guests and do not necessarily reflect the views or opinions of the Phoenix Research Institute or any institution which any panel member is associated.
I'd like to welcome everyone back to the Nova Society. I'm your host, Dr. Brooklyn Ann Weldon, and I'm here with my favorite panel and yours, Dr. Scott Gershwer and Dr. Mark Bound. And today we are going to discuss Trump's wanting to pay himself from suing the Department of Justice for what Trump says is an illegal investigation into the 2020 election that Trump still claims to have won, and Trump wants to pay himself $230 million from the Department of Justice, while being sure to remind everyone who's listening that he does not take a salary.
God.
Oh, yeah. He's got to remind everyone that he is very generous and he doesn't take a salary, just like he didn't take a salary the first time around. So,
Right.
yeah, but he's going to pay
That's a new thing.
$230 million, and he doesn't talk about the Bitcoin, and he doesn't talk about the all the other grifting his family is doing, but he's going to sue his own Justice Department.
We got the Trump watch.
The Trump watch is not working well for people. They're not getting it.
The Trump and it's called Trump time. So they got a new watch. It's a high quality
Trump time.
Well, yeah, it's high quality watch stuff, and I guess it's not working out so well.
Yeah, and don't
Made in
forget
China.
The Arc de Trump. That's going to be like the Arc de Hitler that Hitler wanted to build. But yeah, getting back to the $230 million that we, the taxpayers, are going to have to pay on top of the $1 billion or whatever it is for the free Qatar jet that we're going to be paying, plus the 2 Air Force jets from Boeing that we're going to be paying, plus bailing out our farmers that we're going to be paying.
Yeah. The next
ballroom.
The next grift is always the next grift is always just around the corner, and it's coming. And I got to tell you, of all the grifts, of all the shakedowns, this one has to be the best. I mean, this is like Trump demanding that the Justice Department that he controls, and there's no doubt in anybody's mind, right, that he controls this Justice Department, pays him $230 million is absolutely brilliant. It is the most blatant, the most out there, the most transparent robbery in history. A great Bennett Gershman's an ethics professor at Pace University, and says the ethical conflict is just so basic. You have the people in the Justice Department who are going to be deciding whether this claim should be successful or not. And they report to him. What does anybody think is going to happen? And this is unitary executive theory at its absolute apex. And when Trump says, hey, look, I'm the one that makes the decision, right? And the decision comes across my desk. It's awful strange to have to make a decision where I'm paying myself. This is brilliant stuff. So, Mark, in case anybody doesn't know what unitary executive theory is, you want to give us a refresher on that?
Oh boy,
this was Bill Barr's big thing, remember? Which got Bill Barr hired as the Attorney General.
Yeah, It is a constitutional theory that basically says the President of the United States has total authority over the executive branch, all of it, and that there is very little accountability. That's one of the big things about this, very, very little accountability. And it's usually when this only really comes up when there's disagreements of where presidential power stops and where congressional power or judicial power begins. And usually it is, you're right. Bill Barr was a huge proponent of this. He believed that the executive should not be constrained. So, yeah, it's kind of an authoritarian kind of thing. We're accepting that there's three branches of government, but in the executive branch, we stay in your own lane, Congress. It is against oversight, congressional oversight, which is really one of the things that Congress is supposed to be big on. It kind of dismisses that idea of congressional oversight as being more of a nuisance, because the president, as the leader of the free world, should be able to do what he thinks is right. And having to rely on things like Congress and the judiciary takes time. And, we can't afford to have that time taken by those silly rules that, limit the president's power.
Right. And apparently there are more norms than rules, than laws when it comes to the federal government, right? And
that's correct.
So Bill Clinton, who was probably the poorest president in our lifetime, maybe the Obamas, when he became president, they didn't have a lot of money. Why didn't they think of suing the federal government for anything? It really doesn't matter what it is.
Yeah.
And saying, the federal government owes me $230 million. Put that across my desk and I'll sign it tomorrow. And there's no oversight and there's nobody's outraged. And that's my real question mark. Shouldn't Republicans be outraged by this? Where are they?
First of all, this is kind of new. I mean, it just come up over the past couple of days.
Yeah,
and let's remember, it hasn't been out there that long. And I love the way Trump words these kind of things. I'm thinking about having them pay me $230 million. He doesn't come out and say, this is what we're going to do. In a lot of ways, he's testing the waters. He probably is waiting to see how much pushback he gets, because he knows he's not going to get pushback from Pam Bondi, who's in charge of that department. He's not going to get pushback from people in his cabinet. So it comes down to how much pushback he gets. So I think that the jury's still out. Let's remember, Congress is on vacation at this point in time. The government is shut down. This is absolutely horrible look, because guess what, people? It will be your tax dollars paying this $230 million to Trump. And it's not going to be somebody else's tax dollars. It's going to be yours, and you're going to be paying it. And I think, this is so Trumpy in my mind. Let's cast it out there and see if anybody bites on it. And then we'll make a decision. We may never hear another thing about this again if, the Republicans come back and say, that's the stupidest ass thing I ever heard. And I honestly, Scott, I can't see too many Republicans that will want to go to a town hall after saying, yeah, I think we ought to give Trump $230 million of your tax dollars for whatever. That won't go over real well.
Here's what they'll say, because Trump was actually asked by a reporter about this, and he says, hey, I'll give the money to charity. I'll get the money, but I'll give it to charity. And then the Republicans can go back to their town halls and go, hey, look, he's going to give it to charity, just the way he donates his salary, even though there is no mechanism for him to donate his salary other than him taking the salary and then delivering it to somewhere else, taking that money and writing a check for the amount of money he gets paid every year and donating it to somebody. We've never seen that check. We've never seen that.
And we don't know what charity it is. It might be Trump charities.
And we also know from the past that he got all his kids into the University of Pennsylvania, where he went to school, except for one who I think went to Georgetown. I'm not really sure which one that was, but that he got them
Tiffany.
in with the promise that he was going to donate a huge amount of money to those schools, and those schools are still waiting for that money.
He did say he would give the money to charity, by the way. The $230 million, now that you brought that up, he did say he would, yes. But he didn't say which charity.
Yeah,
he didn't say.
What the Trump needs a better watch charity. I mean, again, there's no transparency into that. But the fact that he is even considering this, and here's the thing we could all be kind of happy about. This would be something somebody's going to sue over this. If this was to happen, there's going to be a suit. This is going to go, and I don't know if there's. Again, we say this so often. Trump does things that most of the reasonable people in the room would have never expected. I don't even know how a case like this would work.
You got to have a mentality, right?
You do
to come up with something like this. But man, it's foolproof. This is going to happen. This is going to happen because all he has to say is, "Hey, Pam, I need this. I need this document on my desk for me to sign tomorrow, and it will happen tomorrow." Pam Bondi's not pushing back on this, and we know that. And I don't think he cares. Like, he's so beyond embarrassment that I don't think he cares what the American people think of it. And I don't think he cares how Republicans are going to have to go back to their districts or their states and say, you know, well, it wasn't my idea, and I don't think it's a good idea, but you know, that's Trump being Trump, and we got to let the man be himself. And hopefully he will donate it to charity. But you know what? Again, this goes back to this idea that he loves being the power broker who gets to decide who gets what. You know, maybe just keep why don't you let the taxpayers have their money and not take it away from them and then give it back to them again? Same thing with tariffs. Why not let consumers have their money rather than take it in the form of tariffs, which is going to raise prices on the American people, and then say, you know what, but you guys, you don't understand. I'm going to give you some money. I'm going to write you a Trump check, and you're going to get this check back. So you're going to do okay too. We're all in this together. Why can't we all make money? That's what America's all about.
Well, and
he just wants to be the one who decides who gets what.
Right. $230 million. We each get a check for 75 cents.
Or what we get is a ballroom attached to the White House for that amount of money. And you know what? If there's anything left over, he'll keep that. But he has bestowed upon the American people a ballroom that is going to be, you know, the kind of place that Americans can be real proud of having on the White House that they've never had before. And now, thanks to Trump, they're going to. Or an ark, or the ark. The ark.
Trump. Yeah, you got the ark thing too, yeah. But and here's the thing about the ballroom. All you Trumpettes, you know, from the South, and, you know, the rednecks that seem to be predominantly following him, that ballroom, you're not invited. You are not invited to come to this ballroom. You can't even come and be a servant in this ballroom because you just don't meet the standard that is necessary for this big, beautiful, gold-plated ballroom. So you're going to spend $200 million of your money. It's our money. And you're going to put it in this ballroom that you're not even allowed to probably, I don't know, get through the door. Now, you may be able to come and visit the Arc de Triomphe, Arc de Trump Triumph in Washington. Yeah, you can come visit that, I guess. You're
going to have to drive by it, right? It's in a big circle right as you pull into town from Virginia.
Right. So you're going to have that. I mean, think about this. I mean, I was seeing pictures of the Oval Office the other day. It gets worse and more gaudy every single time they take a picture of it. It's like, how much gaudy shit can you possibly put in one room and think that looks good?
He's not finished yet.
He's going to start hanging hams from there and sell them as Trump hams. Like they'll have like sausages and hams and stuff, like meats, hanging off the ceiling there. And when they're good and dry and they're ready to go, he's going to sell them as Trump hams. Or Trump sausages or whatever it is. Like, it's just the grifts don't stop. The grifts just don't stop. And when a reporter said, "Who is this Trump arc honoring?" He said, "Me." He said, "Me."
Yeah, that's awful. That's awful. And this ballroom is 90,000 square feet. That is larger than the White House itself.
Almost twice the size of 55,000 square feet for the White House.
And the building, I've seen photos of the building just being desecrated. And it is beyond. It actually brings tears to my eyes to see what is happening to that building. And that is not
Yeah, I think a lot of
him.
I think a lot of Americans had that reaction when they saw the East Wing being demolished yesterday. That people were like, "Oh
Yes.
my God, that's the White House. What are you doing?" And
Yes.
that's the people's house. That's our house. And
he wouldn't allow
he just
photographs to be taken. He didn't want
well,
photos to
there
be
were plenty
taken.
of photos taken, but
Oh yeah.
but boy, the grifts don't stop. But this one with the DOJ suing the DOJ, this is utter genius. Brilliant.
Well, if he's able to pull it off, and the only reason he'll be able to pull it off is because the judicial system has no mechanism or has never thought. I mean, remember, the judicial system works on precedent. When you give the judicial system something new, that's when they struggle, because they always love to go back to precedent. What did we rule on this before? And these are things that are coming up that they're saying, we've never ruled on this before. This isn't even a question that a logical attorney would bring before us. And we have to deal with this. And it kind of makes their minds kind of blow. It's sort of like, if you ever want to get an idea of how this works, and we're actually getting better at it. But if you look back, probably, I don't know, about 15 years ago from some of the videos, if you go on YouTube, look up sovereign citizens. Judges back then with sovereign citizens had no idea what the hell to do with them. This idea of traveling, of, color of law, this, I wasn't driving, I was traveling. I'm not in commerce. I do not contract with you. And judges were like, it was so stupid they didn't know how to do it. Now, today, they do know how to do it. Now they simply say that's absolute crap. We're not even doing it. But I mean, back in the day, they really didn't know what to do. And in all deference to the Supreme Court, and I know, Brooke, you don't like the Supreme Court at all. But the fact is they're no different than any other court. You shove something in their face that they look at and say, what in the hell? Because they've got clerks. Every single justice has a clerk. And the clerk's job is to do the footwork. So I'm Ketanji Brown or whoever. And I walk in and I say, okay, fine, here's the case. Find me all the case law to it. And those poor bastard clerks are probably going, what are you talking about? There's nothing that even close to covers this crap. I don't even know I don't even know what to tell you. That's what they're faced with. But yeah. So buy your Trump watch, which unfortunately doesn't work. It's made in China. We're going to have a really beautiful ballroom that you're not invited to, but Melania will say, let them eat cake. Just for a nice historical reference, if you don't like it. And you're going to have the Trump Triumph, arch, and you're going to pay for it all. And congratulations. Yeah. You've been sold some swampland in Florida. All right.
Great. Brooke, take us home.
Take us home, Brooke.
Thank you very much to all our listeners. We just had to add that in, the desecration of the White House. It's appalling. I think really it would be interesting among our listeners. If you think that what Trump is doing is great, let us know. I can't think of anybody I do know who thinks it's great. Be interesting to see if anybody does think it's great.
Oh, I'm sure I'm going to get something in the mail now. Thanks for that, Brooke.
Who thinks that charity is going to get any of that money?
Yeah.
Who thinks that charity is going to get that money?
Yeah. And which charity do you think is going to get it?
Yeah, that sounds good. Yes, so do that. Thank you to our listeners. Please do that. And we will see you again next time on the Nova Society.
The Nova Society is a production of Nova Society Media, a division of the Phoenix Research Institute. We'd like to thank our production partners, Buzzsprout, who hosts the Nova Society, Audacity, our editing partners, Apple iTunes, the largest source of podcasts and music on the internet, Spotify, the most popular platform for the Nova Society, and iHeartRadio, your source for all things music and podcasting. The Nova Society is available on all of these and other quality platforms listed in our description. We'd also like to thank all of our listeners. Without your support, the Nova Society would not be possible. If you have a question or comment, we can be reached at nova.society.podcast@gmail.com. So for Dr. Brooklyn Ann Weldon, Dr. Scott Gershwer, and all of our production partners here at the Nova Society, I'm Dr. Mark Bound. Remember, the true power in society is knowledge. Thanks for listening, and we will see you again next time. We'd like to thank our sponsor for this episode, the Phoenix Research Group, an independent research consortium offering social-political issue solutions to NGOs and international government agencies through multidisciplinary, nonpartisan, and unbiased research. The Phoenix Research Group is a division of the Phoenix Research Institute, the producer of the Nova Society podcast.